Did you see any signs of fatigue at all from your hockey club last night, the 3 games in 4 nights kind of thing?
I think there's a little bit as the game wore on. We're down 1-0 going into the third period. You really want to make a push there. And credit Pittsburgh in how tight they played and how well they positioned the puck on us. We had to go 200 feet every time. And so when you're trying to make a push like that with a heavy schedule, you are going to run into that because some guys are playing extended minutes over a load like that. So there was a little bit of that, and consequently, that's why we're resting up for tomorrow today.
Was it Pittsburgh that created the situation where there were some guys who had extended shifts? I think there was at one point for the Stutzler line, minute 40, I think, for almost all 3 of them.
Yeah, Pittsburgh did a really nice job of putting the game into areas where they could lean on us and hem us in our own zone. And it was a much different game than we saw when we were down there. Obviously, the score dictated some of that. We made that comeback down in Pittsburgh, but it was much more of a loose game, and we were able to go up and down the ice. But I really thought they were committed to putting the puck in and forechecking as a group of 5, and it made it difficult to get out of the zone at times. And then you've got some good skilled players that can hang onto the pucks and extend your D zone shift. So. That's all part and parcel with playing good teams, and and that's what we want to do to teams. We want to try and stay in the offensive zone, so we wear them down, and as a result, you don't have the gas to go north.
As the schedule grinds on here this weekend, how much of an emphasis is the short shift message?
Well, we always want to be on the top side of that short shift and changing to create momentum for our hockey club, changing on offense, changing as the plays go into the offensive zone so that we can do what Pittsburgh did to us a few times last night. So with the schedule as it is, it doesn't change our emphasis. We want to play with pace. We want to play up-tempo. We want to change at the right time so we can continue to come at you. That's always important. Schedule, obviously, the games are there. We got to play them. We're going to play them our way.
Gord kind of touched on this, but how do you kind of balance making sure you get some practice in and making sure you get rest? How do you kind of balance that in the next couple of months, I guess?
Yeah, it's the difficult part of the end of seasons. You usually see this in February and March in a regular National League schedule. You're not on the ice. You're not getting the practice time as much as possible because the schedule gets condensed, even more so this year. And so there has to be a real attention to your preparation in terms of getting the right rest, getting the right off-ice preparation, getting the right rehab, getting the right fuel. And at the same time, with lack of practice and practice reps, you have to, through video and attention to detail, really dial into what you're seeing and to be able to translate that out onto the ice. So there's a focus component there that our whole group has to slowly evolve and slowly mature towards. And this is just, you get into the playoffs, let's say, there's not a lot of practice time there. It's look at it, it's focus in, it's implement, and go forward. And so this is a great testing ground for our group.
Does that affect the power play as much as anything, Coach, this scenario?
Yeah, power play reps, sometimes when you're looking at a heavy schedule, the intensity of the power play reps doesn't match what you see in a game. And as a result, you really have to be dialed into what's going on out there, the subtle changes. We've had some major changes with personnel, and so we're trying to get this thing going again on the fly. Lack of reps will affect that.
What do you anticipate from Boston?
Well, they got, obviously, Marchand is out. We don't know about Bergeron. 2 key components. If they're not in there, it's a different hockey club. But I think bottom line, if you look at their result last night and the comments coming out of their camp, is that they want to be much more engaged than they were last night against Carolina. So we expect the team to come in that's going to play a hard physical game, and we won't be surprised by that.
What have you seen in Matt Murray? Is he just playing with more confidence, Davis?
I think confidence is one thing. He's carrying himself off the ice with a much bigger. I don't know if off the ice, you can just see he's enjoying what's going on. He's full of pride in his performance. His performance is producing real good results. And on the ice, he's square. He's making big saves look easy. And to me, that's second save type stuff. I'm not going to get in here and start breaking down goaltending, but there's a battle level there that he knows he can keep the puck out. And I think that's transferring through our entire team.
So Tim comes in, his first year last year, living with Brady there, there's friendship that grows, last miles, having a good time. I'm just wondering, like, as they've started to play a bit more together on the same line, are you noticing as things have evolved, like, are the hard conversations there as well, like in-game in terms of just adjustments, what they're seeing and keeping each other honest?
Yeah, there's constant communication when those two come back off the ice. There's, they're looking at their shifts, looking at situations. The iPad is there. They're in constant dialogue about what they're seeing and what play was there, what could be there, what should be there. And I think that's just natural growth between two guys who are ultra competitive. They want to make a difference every shift. And so when they come back, they're planning and preparing for the next shift. And I think that's exactly what you should be doing.
As you draw up your power play without, you mentioned you had some major changes. How do you draw it up without Batherson and without Norris? They're arguably the two things that make that thing go. So how do you restructure your power play without those two pieces?
Well, you try and not, you can't tinker so much so that you try an entirely different formula. We've got some baseline options that we want to continue to work towards. We want the puck in certain guys' hands. The reaction off of those plays should be very similar to when Drake and Josh are there. Left shot, right shot, those types of things. We try and establish those as much as possible. We're running out of right shots, but it's one of those things where we have to be, at this point, a little bit more volume-based than we are precision-based, if you will.
And just to follow up on that left shot, right shot thing, Timmy Stutzler usually plays on the left side. Is there any thought of moving him a little bit more and using him a little bit more on his off wing, or do you prefer having him kind of on the left side more often?
Well, we think about putting guys everywhere. I mean, you look all the way back to Minnesota, he played the top for a shift. It's one of those things where we're putting our guys in their best spots. And we feel Timmy does a real good job of speeding up the pace of the power play, coming downhill on his forehand. And so, if we can get that type of support with lefties working away from him, which is where the one-timers are, that's the options we would prefer at this point. But that's not to say we wouldn't make a change at any point in time.
Davis, what is it about the Alex Formanton, Nick Pohl, Connor Brown line that kind of makes those guys go together as a good trio?
Well, you've got a lot of different elements there, starting with Formy's pace. He can really stretch opponents out with his speed. You've got a possession player in Connor Brown who understands how to get to the middle of the ice and possess the puck and open up time and space. And you got Nick Paul, who plays the 200-foot game, does such a good job in his own zone. For a big guy, he's usually an F3 in the zone, which allows the other guys to move. But they've done a real nice job of transitioning from D zone into offense, whether it's rush by pushing the pace and stressing the defenders. That creates a lot of opportunity for them. The other thing they do incredibly well is they track the puck and they come back as a group of five very, very well. They're very conscientious guys. And so whether that offensive opportunity is coming from doing a great job in your own zone or tracking back, creating a loose puck and now being on the attack, I think that they play such a good team game together. The elements fit. They play the system well together, and I think that's when you start to have success.
Over your years in the game, have you seen a guy like Formanton who can use his pace to his advantage as well as he does?
There's been some guys. There's been some fast players in this league, but he certainly applies a ton of stress and can go by people in a hurry. I had Marian Gaborik in Los Angeles, and when he got out into open ice and was skating straight forward with pace, caused a lot of problems as well too. But Formy's really understanding exactly where to go, when to go, and when he turns on the afterburners, it's fun to watch.